We're on, guys. We're on.
Oh, we're on. All right, we on. Back at it again. I'm O, the futuristic baby boomer.
It's your boy Live Late, progressive millennial.
I'm Adrian.
Good.
One of our recurring guests.
Sherm, the booming boomer.
The other of our recurring guests, back on the mic again. Okay, so now I want to get into this little topic that we had. You know, a couple of episodes back, we talked about the black family and whether it was broken or not broken. And I mentioned that the black family was broken, and Sherm took issue with that and said that the black family isn't broken, and made a very eloquent statement about why it isn't. And, you know, we kind of moved on and had conversations from there. However, Adrian, our recurring guest, who wasn't on the pod, engaged in the after pod conversation and said, no, the black family is broken. And so I'm interested in that perspective because, you know, I used the term, but I did concede, and I do believe that if you've got strong parents or a strong parent, and you've got, you know, values and ethics and a moral compass, and you're raising your kids in the right way, that family's not broken. I don't think that it is. And so, you know, I'm curious as to drilling down on that a little bit more, a little deeper, to see whether or not, you know, do you feel like it's broken? And if you do, in what ways is it broken?
Okay, at the risk of being dragged, I just want to explain myself. First, I want to say that I care a lot about the black family as a black person, and I believe that sometimes we get so gung-ho and so overzealous in promoting who we are as a culture that we fail to discuss areas in which we could improve. In general, I think there's a degradation of the familial structure, the way in which we knew it, like, I don't know, in 1912. You had a man and a wife raising their children. If you had a child that was out of wedlock, you got married to whomever that person was. You buckled down and you got married to them, and that kind of just is what it is. I think now things are a bit different. You have women that have entered the workforce. I think we are seeing the sexual revolution like play an even bigger role than it did before. And as a result, I think that impacts families. And so because it impacts families in America, it's going to impact black families. And when I said that I felt like the black family was broken, I think that sometimes we can accept behavior that was generally not accepted and is not helpful to us as a community. If you have a child and you have a child out of wedlock, you are a younger, let's say, mother of this child, it will be harder for you. That is just the general fact. It's harder for you when you're a single mother in society. And sometimes we choose to uplift the behavior as if it's going to be helpful. You said in the beginning, and I really will wrap up soon, you said in the beginning that you felt like when you have a family structure where like everybody's coming together and everybody's helping you, then that is the black family. But if we promote a culture where everybody can be a single mother or a single parent in general, you're not going to have the support. If you have someone that has a child out of wedlock, is a struggling mother, the support comes from their parents. It comes from their grandparents. It comes from their aunts and uncles who are married. And eventually, if you continue to promote a society where everybody's single, you're not going to have the infrastructure to help. And so that's what I mean when I say that, and maybe I could have used better words, that the black family is broken. Ultimately, I think sometimes we can just be so pro-black that we fail to self-reflect and uplift the community in a way that's going to propel us forward positively.
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but I do think that the reality is that there are and there are reasons for there being a lot of single parent, particularly primarily female led households, because, historically, the criminal justice system has been weaponized against black males, that has had an agenda toward locking them up and putting them in prison, that has left families without the male figure and women having to raise those kids. And so circumstances have led to that. And so, I'm not saying necessarily that. I'm saying that where there is a parent that's a strong parent, whether it's a male or a female, if it doesn't have another, spouse in that family, doesn't mean that the black family is broken. It just means that family structure is different.
Well, I do take a bit of issue to that, saying in the beginning that the reason why black males, for example, aren't in the home is because they're all in prison.
I'm not saying they all were, but there was an agenda that was geared toward that.
Yeah, but there is a lot of empirical evidence that shows that that's not the case. And even if we accept that to be true, which again I don't believe is true, it still doesn't negate the argument which I have, which is that we promote a culture that says that this is okay. Even if you say there are some people that are in jail because the government wants these black people to be in jail, which again, there's empirical evidence to show that that's not the case.
As a prosecutor.
It still doesn't negate the fact that we should not be promoting an environment that's not healthy for black culture. If you say that you're pro-black, if you say that you want black people to progress, then you should want that. The typical black family structure, which is two parents in a home that can successfully raise children. And then their children's raise children, their children's children raise children, and you have a family that has a good bedrock to help with other people and to help with society. So my issue is the way that things have been promoted within our culture, which is to say that single motherhood is something that you can aspire to be. And I will never find that to be helpful.
Yeah, I just don't think anyone around this table has said, hey, you know what, you should go out and have a baby and be a single mama. Be a baby mama. That's the way. No, nobody said that.
Be a strong black woman.
My whole issue was the word broken, right? And in fact, what you're arguing for is that thing that you say is broken. You're arguing for more black family. You're arguing for a mother, a father, right? Grandmama and granddaddy and kids. You're arguing for that family structure. So to accept this statement, and it was, I think, a careless statement, and that's why I jumped in, I don't like that broken thing, because the very thing you're arguing for is what you say is broken. If my bicycle is broken, I'm not arguing to ride it.
But we have just, it's almost like if you're looking at a penny and one person is on one side and one person is on the other. He's arguing that the black family isn't broken because I'm promoting it. And the way that I look at it is more like if you have a broken leg, you have a leg. You don't not have a leg. We are black people. We have a family. Does the family structure that we promote that is prevalent within our community, does that structure work? No, I don't believe it's working right now. What I think does work is a repaired leg, a non-broken leg. And the way that you're looking at it is that the black family is what it always will be, which is functioning. And no matter way you twist and turn, it's always going to be functioning. And I don't think that's true. I think that you can do things and promote things within our community that's not helpful and that will continue to break at the foundation of what we have. We have a definition of what it is to have a black family. You can create a new normal and have a different definition. Definitions are created and destroyed all of the time. And so my argument is, while this exists, and you think that I'm promoting that, which I am, if the way in which we view the black family changes to the point where every or most black families don't look like the way that we're talking, then that is the black family. It's not what we're talking about. And that is what I seek to preserve.
So if I can just go back, the premise was the black family is broken.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe that.
No.
You believe that the black family works when it is set up the way you ideally perceive it.
Yes, and
right?
it's broken now, just like a broken leg doesn't work.
No, it's not broken. It works. It works if it's in this ideal situation that you're promoting. Mom, dad, child, grandmama, granddaddy.
Yes.
That works.
That
right?
works.
That is my definition of the black family.
And when it doesn't look like that, is it broken? What is it when it doesn't look that way?
It's not broken.
Then what is it? I'm not asking you what it's not. I'm
It's
asking
different.
you what
It's
it
a
is.
little different. So if young, Alicia goes out and you know what, she fell in love with the wrong dude. She liked this dude. She liked the bad boys, bad boy,
Mm-hmm.
and she got pregnant. And she went home and said, I want to have an abortion. Her family said, no, you're not. You're not aborting one of us. I don't care who bad boy is. He's part of us. That's what a family does. All right? Mama and daddy's going to stand in. Grandmama and granddaddy going to stand in. Uncle Nate going to stand in. Right? That's a family. It's not perfect. It's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your government ideal of the 2.5, married, and you got a kid and a dog. But it's still a family. That's what family does. Now, what I'm asking you is, if the black family is broken, what's the alternative? What do we do?
Then we fix it. I think that is such a fabulous question. So
Yeah.
thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
But my point isn't that there is something wrong with the way we view the black family. I think it's that over time it's degraded and it's become something else because we believe that we can just lean on each other all of the time and make any type of decision that we want. I do think we've come to the point as a society, as I noted in the beginning, this is not specific, in my opinion, to black families. I think it has to do with our culture and the way that we view things. If you have a more loose society and the way in which you view things, then the way that family looks is going to be different. It's sort of like we're saying the best case scenario for children is to have a 2-parent household. The best structure for a family is when, everybody's together, it's strong, and everybody chips in. But then at the same time, you're also saying if it doesn't look like that, it's okay. It can kind of look however. But no, my point is that it's not okay and it can't kind of look however. If you have a leg and it is broken, you can walk on that leg. It's going to be really messed up. It's going to heal wrong. It's still going to be a leg. You can still walk on it, and so can other people.
Okay,
but
so
do you say, yes, you should walk on that leg, it's totally fine, and tell other people to break their leg and then walk on it without fixing it? That's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question.
Sorry, I know you were speaking. I just wanted to...
If you were to get married and you had your 1 or 2 kids, and then your husband, unfortunately, was in an accident and died, and now you are
A single mother.
a single mother
Yeah.
with those 2 kids, is your family then broken?
I think that's different.
No.
And
Hold on, because
Do you want me to
we
answer
didn't talk.
that
Well,
question?
yeah, but again, we now we're saying, well, the circumstances make a difference, because
Yes, they do make a difference, in fact, and I do think there's a difference between marrying someone and then being widowed, and meeting someone you're 16 and then accidentally getting pregnant. I think we can all see that there's a difference there. And again, my point isn't just in like what happens after, it is in what we are promoting as a society. And part of the reason I believe this way isn't just because I believe it's kind of just like hurtful to our community. I think it's harder for children to be successful. I think it's harder for the mothers to be happy. It is hard. It's hard after you have children and you're unwed. It's hard to find someone else and marry them and be with them. But to answer your question, I do think it's different being widowed than being like single mom. Technically, when you're a single mom, that's not the same thing as being a baby mother. What we're talking about is being a baby mother, that you were sleeping with someone and then you actually got pregnant and then you have a child. That's a baby mother. That's not the same thing as meeting someone and being married and then having a child. In both of those scenarios, I think it's different, but I still believe it is difficult.
Yeah, but see, my problem, what I have the issue with, the problem that I'm having with what you're saying is that in scenario one, somebody, gets with the bad boy, gets pregnant, has a child. Now that's a single mom with 1 or 2 kids. The second scenario is that you're married, your husband passes away, now you've got 2 kids and you're a single mom. Mm-hmm. You're a single mom regardless.
Still a single mom. I think
and you're dealing with the challenge regardless. And so
you are dealing with it differently. Oftentimes people who are married choose different men than people who sleep around and get pregnant, or not even just sleep around, but who sleep with someone and get pregnant. Oftentimes they are men with different social statuses, different financial backgrounds. It is not the same thing. And again, my point is about the promotion of it. When you're widowed, you don't have a choice whether somebody dies. And I also think it's about establishing what makes sense and what is helpful to the community before it happens. Everybody makes mistakes, but some mistakes are more difficult than others to come back from. And sometimes we care so much about Black people that we wish on our community what we wouldn't even wish for ourselves. You would never have a child and tell her that she can come back an unwed single mother with 3 baby dads. You would never say that. You would want her to have a child, to be married, to be happy. If she chooses to leave that marriage because she's not happy, that's fine, then she chooses to leave. But the first scenario, you wouldn't ask for, and yet we promote that as a culture to say that everything is okay.
It's okay if she marries 3 times and has 3 different kids by 3 different men. It's all right.
But I never said that. And I think like sometimes part of the problem is when we get in these discussions, I'll say something and then the response is something that I never said. I never said that. But that's your response to what I said.
But here's the thing.
You're not addressing what I'm saying.
The mother's situation is the same. She's alone.
You still aren't addressing what I said, which is that I never said that. So I think we have to start there. Okay.
You didn't say that.
Okay.
But her situation is the same. She's got 3 kids by 3 different men and no man.
It's still...
Right? One of them got killed because he was a bad boy. She married him.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
She married him.
Okay.
He was dope slinging. Somebody killed him.
Okay.
She married another guy. He was a preacher. He ate too much fried chicken on Sundays. He had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And died.
Yeah.
But she had a kid by him. So now she got 2 kids.
Right.
The third guy, right, was an upstanding citizen. Right? He was a politician. He and his political rivals killed him.
Yeah.
She's got 3 kids by 3 different dudes.
And you're saying...
She's not married anymore.
Right.
She's okay. Her family's not broken. But if you go out and you have sex with 3 guys...
I understand.
And you have 3 kids, you should be treated differently.
Well, let's not act
I'm not promoting either situation.
No, it does.
Both situations are horrible.
Both situations are bad, but I do want to acknowledge that it seems like sometimes when I say something, you just like take it and put it to the extreme. I think both of them are sad. Both of them are incredibly heartbreaking to have a husband and think that you're going to spend the rest of your life with him, and then for him to pass away, I couldn't even imagine. I also think it's sad if you are... find yourself to be in an unfortunate situation where you have a child, let's even say on accident, and then you have that child out of wedlock. I think both of them are hard. But I really don't think it negates the point that I'm making, which is, one, that it's very hard for those women after that to find partners and be successful, which is that, 2, it is not helpful for the children after, because now you are a single mom. And in the case of the first person that you talked about, she would have more support actually than the latter because she's married these men, and that provides a set of rights for her children, and those set of rights may not be provided for the children in the second scenario for the person who doesn't marry
what are we
any
talking
of those
about?
3
What are we
people.
talking about? This is long-winded. What are we talking about? I don't
again,
understand what's
like,
going on. Like,
I think I'm making the same points, which is that in general, it's I don't understand why we as Black people and other can't.
I'm Black. I just don't talk, but I'm Black.
Can't say it's
Okay.
not a good idea to have children out of wedlock. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to marry someone that's abusive. It's not a good idea, I don't know, to do many other things, to drive without your seatbelt. It's sort of like we can agree on some things, but somehow when we get to the Black community and we talk about these things, we can't agree on them. And yet again, you would not wish this on your children. You don't want that. And in fact, Sherman, you don't even have that for yourself. You are married. Your children, I'm sure you hope them to be married and happy. Your parents were married. Your siblings, many of them, I believe, are married. So you established this lifestyle for yourself because you think it's helpful, and you wouldn't want this on your child. So
I'm not going to throw my child away say my grandchild can't be successful, my child can't be successful simply because they've had a child out of wedlock.
No.
I believe the Sly Stone. You can make it if you try.
Oh, I was like, who's that?
Yeah, I know. That's a boomer. That's a boomer
Yeah, I was
guy.
like, what?
You can make it if you try. Now,
And you
I
can.
understand
Yep.
that you think that positive saying is like, okay, baby, you made a mistake, but you can make it if you try. You think that's harmful to
Did
the
I say
community.
that, or are you making another statement that I didn't say? Why don't you pose that as a question?
You've said that to me in other conversations.
I've never said that to you.
That, hey, you're promoting this single parenthood, and in fact, it's harmful to the community.
That's a problem I
I
have.
think
promoting
part of your
single parenthood.
I think
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of your
I'm not.
perspective is promoting single parenthood. However, once you get to the point, and you're pregnant and you decide to have that child, you shouldn't make that mistake again. You shouldn't make that mistake again. We should talk about it. You shouldn't try to create an environment to say like, hey, it's going to be rainbows and sunshine if you had a child out of wedlock. It's not. It's difficult. And again, I have the same sentiment that I had before when we discussed this, which is that it feels like people who come from two-parent households and then who get married, so they create a two-parent household and then want that for their child, argue something that's different. I don't come from that. My mother was a single parent. It was very, very, very difficult for her. And it seems like you have a lot of people who live this lifestyle that you are advocating for and advocate for something
what's
different.
You can make it.
It's like almost baffling to me. You are arguing that something is okay, but you're not even creating it for yourself. If it was that okay with you, then you would have never gotten married. You would have just, kind of done your own thing. If your daughter came back unwed with 4 babies from 4 different men, I wish you would. You would have a problem with it.
Hey, be
And
careful
why
when you
can't-
talk about a black man's child.
No, I'm saying you wouldn't wish that upon her. You wouldn't.
I don't wish it upon anyone.
Yes, and that's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all I'm saying. If you get to the point where you make a mistake, okay, all right. Yes, let's gather around and let's figure it out. Let's come together as a family unit and as a family structure. But don't talk about it as if everything is going to be okay all the time. The reality is it will be difficult for those women, and I think that we need to talk about it in order to create deterrence.
Yeah, the issue that I have is the promoting piece, because I don't think that when I talk about it, I'm not promoting one thing or another. I'm not promoting being a single parent. I'm not promoting any particular thing. I'm just recognizing the reality of what things are. And sometimes there are single parents, and sometimes the circumstances are beyond your control. And what that means is that you just have to make the best of and do the best you can with what you have.
Sure.
And that's what we have to do.
Are not like, yes, there are some people who are raped. There are some people who are with someone and they pass away. Like, those are the circumstances that are outside of our control. Having a child out of wedlock, not using contraception, that's within your control. You just messed up. That's okay, but you just messed up. And I think the only reason why I feel like part of it is promoting it is because it's very hard within the Black community, as you'll see if you look back through this discussion, to talk about things that I think we should do better. I think we can do better. You're saying you're not promoting it. But I don't think you're talking about the positives and the negatives. It seems like you're only talking about the positives, which is that everybody in your family is going to come around to help you. If I had a child today out of wedlock, I would have literally nobody. I'm not really close with my father. My parents have an incredibly large age gap. I don't talk to my mom, and I'm an only child. If you stood in my face and told me, as someone who is unwed with a child, that I would be okay and I could figure it out, I hope that you would be telling me that because you would give me money yourself and that you would help me and that I could move in here. But the reality is, for most of these women, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them. So if they're thinking about having a child out of wedlock and that everything is going to be okay, it is not. It is going to be difficult.
Well, so let me say this about that. It damn sure is going to be difficult in this environment because with the current administration that we got, a whole lot of shit is changing. They just issued an edict that everybody who's been on public housing for the last 150 years got 2 years. Get your shit together because you're getting ready to have to be on the street homeless. And on top of that, a whole lot of changes that happen with the new administration. So what are your thoughts about that?
No, I think you're right. I do. I think we should say, yo,
you never agree with
you
me.
bet not have a child out of wedlock. Do you know what this administration
Not
is
in this
doing?
administration.
No.
Right now, in this right here in this period of time.
And be blocked too?
Now,
Shit.
I will say this.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, right now in this environment,
The black-
it's not the time to be out here in these streets.
No.
Because diversity, equity, and inclusion is no longer diverse. There's no more equity, and ain't nobody including shit. I mean, that's just what it is right now. And so, not everybody's unhappy about that, right? There's some folks. I mean, I saw the other day, there was this young Latino cat, and he had a shirt on that said "Latinos for Trump," and ICE was taking him in to deport him.
And they were throwing confetti at him. He was like, yeah, Trump doing his job. He doing his job. I'm going back to Guatemala.
I think they thought that it meant that they just would stop additional immigrants. Like
Everybody gonna fuck around and find out. They're fucking around and they find it out.
You think they thought? Well, well, here's the thing. They didn't think.
No,
They didn't.
I'm seeing, TikTok, videos about white women that are upset because they've lost their jobs and they didn't realize that they were diverse, the DEI hires.
Yeah.
Folks are now.
But listen, so what people don't understand is what we were diversifying from, right? So the only reason you need diversity is because everything's the same, right? You want to diversify, that means that you're adding something in that wasn't already there. Back in the 50s and the 60s, all of the best jobs went to white men. Period. Those jobs were so good and they paid so well that women didn't have to work. And you could buy a house, have a car, have 2.5 kids, and only one job. They could go to a nice school, right? The neighborhoods were safe. That's all you needed. So what happens? Everybody else wanted that. Oh, and by the way, white women started having babies out of wedlock. And they needed jobs to support their kids. And so they diversified the workforce and added in women. And those are the ones that are now saying, I didn't know I was diverse. Yeah, you're different than what it used to be. But we're going to make America great again. Oh, and by the way, your boy Elon. What we going to say about your boy Elon? He's a genius. He's going in and he's doing what he did at Twitter, now X. He's just chopping heads. Think that's a good strategy?
I don't know.
You gonna wait and see because he's a genius, right?
You're gonna wait and see.
It must be good because
But
he's infallible. Everything he does is successful.
but you're a fan of Elon.
Yeah, I'm actually curious because I don't know. I feel like you've kind of been quiet lately during the start of the administration and changes that Elon has made, like in a non-elected position. Why do you think you've been so quiet about it?
What was the platform to speak on? What are you talking about?
What's the platform to speak
You
on?
said I've been quiet. What do you mean? Have we been?
Yeah, I think just generally been quiet. Like usually when we have these discussions about Elon Musk, like you're pretty vocal about your opinion and how you think he's a genius, or even how you think the future could be with him. And we've gotten to see at least a glimpse of that because he's been able to implement changes that under probably any other administration he wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah. So, what are you saying? Like, what's my opinion about that? I mean, look, I don't expect Elon to be a more this is not someone that I look to be a perfect human in every regard. I think Elon Musk has an agenda. He's a one of a kind human being, and this person is someone who is, I think, he's like advancing humanity, and I think someone like that, I don't expect him to be also this morally conscious person, this very ethical person. I'm not looking to Elon for that. I appreciate the things he does. I criticize him for things he's not. For instance, I think this guy is someone who's unethically going about the way he's like having multiple baby mamas and just the way he treat women. I think he's very sporadic with his approach. I think sometimes, he causes a lot of people to lose jobs. He rules with the iron fist. There's a lot of things he doesn't do right. So we can talk about that. You guys never really give me an opportunity to also critique because you've always been on the defensive side. That's all. But I can criticize Elon. He's not my father. He's not someone I look up to. He's not God. He's someone who's doing something that I respect for humanity. But I don't expect him to be great in other ways because that's not what I'm looking to Elon for.
Yeah. No, I was just curious to hear your perspective. I think part of it is because in the beginning you said that like you felt like he was like a beautiful, kind person or something, and then you said
Never said
you felt
that.
like he wasn't morally just. I mean, you said at the beginning.
Take your advice from Sherman. I didn't say that.
No, you just said it.
I said he's a beautiful, kind person.
Yeah, you said it at the beginning. You
What?
said like he's a kind person,
What?
and you feel
I never said
like,
that.
He's a one of a kind person.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh,
She is
okay,
a
that
one
makes
of a
more
kind
sense.
I
person.
I
thought
was
he
like,
said he was a wonderful, kind person.
No, he said a one
yeah,
of a kind.
One of a
Okay,
kind.
yeah,
One
that
of a
makes
kind
sense.
person.
Yeah, you
So
guys
am
have
I.
always wanted to hear what
So the
you
hell
want
am
to
I.
hear when it comes to Elon.
No, I
Look,
just
listen, if you guys would have actually had a constructive criticism, like conversation around this, you would have known that I do disagree with Elon. You just never gave the opportunity to. And so you guys have always.
Wait. You've refused to talk about Elon. I put Elon's ass on Front Street, and you were like, "Wait a minute, what happened? We're gonna have to talk about this later."
I haven't.
So this is the opportunity. I listen now. I don't think that we've ever prevented you from stating your case for Elon. And by the way, I'm a little embarrassed because his name is Leon. He's dyslexic, right? if he can't spell his name. His name is Leon, okay? And if they could call Kamala Harris Kamala, I can call his pale ass Leon. Come on. What's up with your boy?
You
What's
tell
up with
me.
him?
I don't know. That's not my boy. I just, again, I respect ingenuity. I respect evolution. I respect technology. I think it creates a middle class. I think someone who is put in satellite, in orbit for people in remote places to have access to internet that can change their lives. I respect that. I respect someone who's, creating technology to have rockets being reusable, for the opportunity for us to be, interplanetary. I respect that. The car that I drive, when I had a combustion engine, it gave me way more problems. The car that I drive now makes my life easier. It's proof in the pudding. I respect that. And if you don't ask me about his moral conscience, we can talk about that, and I can disagree with it.
Here's what I want to ask you about. Are you willing to accept that he doesn't possess the technical knowledge to do any of the things that you say that you're giving him credit for? What he has is the monetary means to hire people who know how to do those things. Now, I don't discount the fact that he has these ideas that are game changers, right? And so putting all these satellites in space so that people in remote places can have access to the internet. But there are some other nefarious things that you can do with that technology. And I don't put that past him, right? So you say, yeah, he's a genius. He's got all these ideas. He's making humanity better. But he's unethical. He's immoral. And so you also have to take, along with all those great things that he's doing, what he might do, because he has no ethical or moral compass, as you can see, because he's ruining people's lives and bragging about it with a chainsaw. Come on. Who is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's from South Africa. His parents was rich before, or his parents were struggling, but before Elon was born, he was born into riches. He was born into having the choice and ability to do whatever he wanted. He flew in private jets. Again, this is not someone who's normal. I don't expect him to be normal. And if you say, oh, he's just happens to be the one that is kind of like using money to invest in these different things, then my question is, who else is? I mean, if you look at all of the company that he's invested in, there's a trend to it sort of like pushing humanity forward. If you want to argue against that and say this guy graduated with a physics degree, like he's not stupid, like there's no CEO that has been involved in every aspect of the company, all the company that he's run, to be able to talk to everybody at the level that they're at, and to be able to put input, understand, and lead them. That's something to be said. And you guys just kind of dismiss that. It's just like one way or the other. And my thing is, one of the struggles that I have even coming here, because I always got to speak to my background, because that's where my, that's what my thought process, I guess I'll say, comes from, is I think in the U.S. it's like everybody has to pick a side. You know what I mean? You can't really be someone who is unbiased, down the middle, be for something and also be against something that one person does. And because I speak to the things that he does, and you guys are so like extreme on the other side, you still think I'm just this Elon fan. That's just like, that's the narrative. And again, the more you have the conversation and you're willing to let me talk and have an input, you realize that. But just like this podcast, 30 minutes in, I've said the first word. That's how it goes. You know what I mean? But
that's your choice, bro.
It's not my choice.
That's your choice.
But
you have to cut this out because I got to go.
You're good. We're still going. But yeah, so that's how it goes. Anyway, have a good one, Sherm.
Yeah, no. So yeah, but again, with as far as Elon is concerned, I mean, I hear you. Mm-hmm. I hear you on that. That he's got positives and he's got negatives, and you recognize those. I mean, I guess that's fair. It depends on who you talk to, right? Some people feel like he's extremely negative, and some folks think that he is a genius and an innovator,
right?
And again, it depends on where you are. I guess it's the same kind of thing. Again, same thing we were talking about earlier. It's your perspective, right? Everybody has a different perspective. And at the end of the day, it depends on your perspective.
At some point, I do think we have to choose. We judge as people. Of course we do. That's how we keep to our convictions. And so a lot of the time I hear you say it's hard for you guys because I'm neutral. I stay straight down the center. I don't choose one way or choose the other. But I do think in a lot of cases you are not that. It's very difficult for us to be introspective and, to say that we are objective people. Of course, we're going to say that about ourselves, but I think all of us are biased. Like, that's the point. That's why we had DI. That's why we have like unbiased, that like, the training that we have for subconscious bias. So I don't think it is necessarily true that you are just kind of even keeled straight down the center all of the time. I think that you really like Elon Musk, and when you hear things about him that aren't necessarily positive, you sort of give him the benefit of the doubt in a way that someone who doesn't like him wouldn't. They're always going to interpret it negatively, and I think you tend to interpret those things positively.
Yeah, I like to strike balance. That's all. I think when I hear people constantly, the people that I'm around are always talking down or bad about Elon. That's why I always provide the balanced perspective. And you're right. I like the things that Elon are doing. But we don't often talk about what he's doing. We often talk about his character.
But that's a part of what he's doing, like your character.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. But I don't think...
Especially when we're talking about, like, within a country, he's able to do things within this country that he doesn't even have, frankly, an elected position just to do.
Yeah.
And when we talk about these things, I find that it's very difficult for you to say negative things about him. And when you do, they're sort of pretty vague. Again,
when we were talking about it, you guys are extreme with it, what you're talking about. So I'm forced. If it's 3 people talking about Elon being a bad person, I'm going to add the balanced perspective. If I'm in a room with all these people talking about, Elon doing this, I'll go, wait a minute, but have you seen he's done this as well? I'm always going to be willing to add the balanced perspective. I think, and for sure, I am biased towards the things that Elon is doing. I like them. I support them,
the things
for
that
sure.
you like, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
The technology, that Elon, he has technology companies that
he's a technologist.
Yeah,
and you are.
I support that.
Right.
I'm a tech enthusiast, but but I don't think that Elon does no wrong. At the same time, two can be true. And so that's why I always laugh when you guys are just like making fun of me and telling me I'm, Elon's my dad and all of that. I get it because I love the things, the technology that he's, creating. I love that.
But again,
so yes,
at some point we do have to choose. It's.
Then I'm going to choose Elon.
Right, and that's just what my point is. And so if you're going to choose him, then of course you can say that every single time when you look at something, just because you're African, you look at it down the middle. Of course you don't. We all, look at things subjectively. And I think some more subjective than others, but to say that you kind of just have this neutral position, I don't find to be.
I typically do. I'm able to criticize the people. And it doesn't matter. It could be my friend, my brother, my sister, my mom. It could be it could be anyone. Like I'm willing.
It's sort of like if you have someone that makes a choice, are you a racist or are you someone that says racist things? If you say one thing one time, that's racist. Are you a racist person or did you make a mistake? And I think part of the reason why people are shifting away from a perspective that is of praise of Elon is because we're probably past the point where it's kind of just one bad choice.
I think someone can say a racist thing, but they're not a racist. Yes.
Right. So, and that's my point. It's that we're kind of past the one bad thing. I think generally, if we have to put a line here, people on this side of the table are probably, we're past one bad thing. Well, so overall, who are we? Who is he as a person?
You and I have had conversations where I've called a person evil, and you're like, you can't judge a person
do that
and say that they're evil.
Yeah,
you don't believe that you can say that person's evil.
That's correct.
Even when they do evil shit, they say evil shit, the shit that they promote leads to other evil shit happening.
If it walks like a duck,
no,
and it quacks like a duck,
she says.
And it looks like a duck. It's probably a duck.
You can't say that person is evil.
Can't say it. I can't say it. I don't say it.
Why not?
I
can't say it.
But
and the same goes for Leon. You cannot say with certainty that Leon is immoral, evil, that he doesn't care about people. You can't say that, even though everything that he does, everything.
Well, not
everything.
I think he cares about
his children. Because I do agree with
probably,
Lavala, because of his money and probably his input. There have been some innovations that are going to advance humanity, like this reusable rocket. That's some good stuff. I don't think he came up with it. He financed it, though, and that's cool. But I'm sorry. Maybe it's a boomer thing. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck,
so who came up with
swims like a duck.
Who came up with it?
But so you think
came up with what?
Research it. It ain't him.
Who?
Do
you know?
Have you researched it?
So what do we give credit to the person
Let's bet.
Who came up with it? I'm just asking.
Let's bet.
What are we betting?
I will bet it wasn't him.
Sure. I'm willing to accept that. But who?
But I'm not willing.
Can we give credit to the person who came up with it?
I'm not willing to say it's him.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
No, but you are. You are.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I've never said that.
Because Mr. Proctor,
I never said that.
Of Procter and Gamble did not come up with the chemistry for Tide.
No. Okay. I said Elon is at the forefront. He's leading multiple companies that are doing things that are innovative that I care about. And there are lots of people with money that are not doing that. There are lots of people with money that are causing more bad than good. And so, again, we keep trying. It's okay. If you can have your opinion, you can feel a way about Elon. You can think, you can discredit him for all these things. But there's a trend of the companies that I know for a fact. When I think about Neuralink, when I think about SpaceX, when I think about the Boring Company, when I think about Tesla, and when I think about Twitter, all these different companies, I've already restarted. All these different companies, I like the mission. I like what they stand for. I like what they're doing.
I don't think he's disagreeing with you on that, though.
Let me finish. I like what they're doing, and the person that's behind that, the single person, whether he's the mastermind that is on the field doing everything, is Elon Musk, and so therefore I'm using him as this person, this character, because I don't even know Elon. Listen, I don't talk to this guy. I'm not married to this. I don't care. I care about these companies that I'm invested in. Put anybody at the helm. It just happens to be Elon. That's it. Then we can talk about all the things about his personality, his character, sure. And I think recently I haven't been liking what Elon has been doing, as a matter of fact. I think the strategy that he's been using to make these companies successful, implementing that in the government could be problematic. I've seen a lot of people be affected for him. I have someone personal to my life, near and dear to my heart, that's being affected by what's happening. I know that. So you guys are talking to me as if I'm not affected by it, or I don't understand. It's not that, right? I'm directly impacted by what Elon is doing.
You've never expressed it before.
So I don't know
because we never got there.
I don't think you've ever expressed it.
And I don't know that that's true.
And that's cool.
I don't know that that's true, because I give you credit. You are a contrarian by nature. So, when everybody else is yinging, you typically yang.
I just ask. I just question.
And I don't know that, I don't know you to be somebody who isn't willing to criticize anyone, whether you support them or not.
Nobody, everybody can get it.
No, yeah, I don't.
Anybody can get it.
I don't see you blindly supporting any particular person or thing. That's not my experience with you. So I do think you will, but your overall feeling is one of support towards Elon. And, I get it. For me, I'm in a place now where, I'm pretty much observing the various things that are happening in government, the transition that we're in. I've made a conscious effort to not be intimately involved with all the transition that's happening in the way that I was the last time we went through this bullshit. And it's allowed me to have a bit of distance. I know what's going on, but I'm not as motivated or bothered by or impacted. I'm just everybody that, voted for this, they're fucking around, they finding out.
I'm in question. I'm wondering. I'm waiting to see, right? Again, I don't think that the structure of the government has been like there's multiple parts to this, right? You have politicals, you have civil servants, people at the federal level, you have contractors. All these people make up the government that have different tasks and things that they have to accomplish, right? And so, for me, do I agree that Elon and Trump coming in the way they're just like cutting the fat in the way that just like firing everybody and then seeing, if the structure breaks and then adding the piece back? I don't know. Like, people are really affected by this. But
I understand why they're doing what they're doing in the time frame they're doing it. Okay? Because you got 2 years. The midterm elections are coming up. All the shit that they're doing right now, you got to do it now. You got to do it early. If it ends up being a net negative, the midterms are going to be a bloodbath. If it ends up having some positive benefit, they may survive the midterms.
Sure.
But you can't wait and do this shit later. You got to do this shit now, what they're trying to accomplish.
I mean, generally, people are unhappy.
Yeah.
Trump supporters are unhappy. A lot of people that, live in the South are realizing that everything they do.
Oh, the farmers are fucked.
And the way that they live is federally funded.
Yeah.
Or people that are,
fucking
veterans,
around finding out.
that are part of the Veterans Association. They're finding, markups in their prescription medications, etc. So I think it's generally hurting most people. And there are some people who, are unscathed.
Listen, the Biden administration has been anti-tech. They've been extremely woke. They've been censorship, pro-censorship. They've been all these things. And
extremely woke. What does that mean?
It means you're not asleep. In perfect English, it means you're not asleep. Go to sleep. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the idea of, look, we understand that America can still be a place. With each administration, first of all, I hate politics. I mean, just make that disclaimer, right? Because this whole idea of every administration coming in and undoing and then redoing and undoing every 4 years, it just makes no sense to me, right? And shout out to my newsletter, my Substack newsletter. You guys can come and find in a more unbiased or a consistent way of doing things that can lead to an evolution where it's sort of like look more of a life of abundance. That's solarpunkdc.com. Follow and subscribe, because the politics shit is like, I'm bipartisan on there. I look for the truth and I look for things and resources that can help the everyday person. I believe that, change start with the community as a resistance and go forward. And I don't really rely on the government because it's like, it's a flawed system. But we don't need to act like the government, like everybody's so biased towards, I'm a Democrat. So anything the Democrat, I'm, blue till I die. And you don't criticize your own party. And that's also the problem. Everybody is just like, wants to be one way or the other. Yeah. And it's just like ridiculous. I criticize Trump right now, criticize what Elon is doing. You should also criticize Biden, hold them accountable, let them know that they're doing something wrong. It's not Democrat or Republican.
I do think that we could do a better job. I will say I think we all can do a better job. But, we just live in a different time and things are far more polar than they used to be. Like, this is not the Reagan days. So I do think it's different. But I also think in this past election, you saw a lot of people that typically voted Democratic or that typically voted Republican and that voted Democratic. But we also saw a lot of people who voted for Bernie Sanders, who voted for Obama, and then turned around and voted for Trump. So, and these are not, just senseless voters that have no idea what's going on. These are people that believed that they made a truly informed decision. And some of them are happy with the changes. They're happy with some of them and don't care about the other ones. They could care less whether they have to go back into work. And they are happy that people that have come into this country illegally and overstayed their welcome are leaving. So I'd agree. I wish we did better at recognizing when we're wrong and like when we need to reel it in. And I think the wokeness is part of it. it's fine to discuss the different aspects of society and how it may be harder for some people than others. But I do think Democrats particularly can be very sensitive in general, and it hasn't worked well for our party.
Yeah.
Joe was asleep at the switch on the border, right? You just can't have a bunch of people coming in undocumented, just pouring through the border. You can't do it. Even for appearance's sake, the appearance was bad, right? Nothing's happening. You just come in, just come on. Even though that wasn't the policy, even though a lot of people got exported out of the country, right? The number of people being exported out did not go down under the Biden administration. There's way too many people coming in. It wasn't a good look. And the thing that Trump is a master at is the look. And right now, it looks like he's doing everything that he promised he would do, even though what he promised he would do is tearing your heart out. I told you I was going to do it. I kept my promise. Yeah. I promised it. It's the look. It's a television show to him.
I think that's
and
a
he's
good point.
Good at a television show.
It's been sad. I saw this video the other day of a woman that was walking with her husband who was an illegal immigrant, and he got taken by ICE as they were walking down the street, and she fainted. I'm sure she's up by now, or at least
I'm sure she's awake by now.
They didn't call the ambulance. They just left her there.
No, I think they did just leave her there. But,
I'm sure she's awake by now.
Yeah, or I saw, it's like, I think
funny.
People didn't think about the more heartbreaking stories. Like, they're just thinking about people who are illegal immigrants that come into the country and that, commit violent crimes. But there are the stories of people who were shoved across the border when they were 2 years old, and now they're being detained by ICE, or sons who have mothers that have been here for 40 years, for 30 years, and now they've been deported. And it's sad. It's sad. I think it hits at the nomenclature of our culture of what it means to be an American and to believe that you can come here and create a better life for yourself. And ultimately, I don't think it's helpful for the economy.
But it's not just that. It's the shakeup of everything. Entitlements. They're talking about cutting Medicare. Cutting Medicaid. They're talking about,
Are they?
Yeah, they're talking about absolutely. Hell yeah.
Because I don't know if you're taking his word for it, but I remember the interview. He's like, "No, we're not doing that. We're going to leave that alone." I don't know if that was.
No.
They have said that.
Everything is on the table.
And then obviously it's going to cause a lot of problems because essentially what you have right now is mass layoffs. And you don't just have them like kind of sporadically. You have them in like literal sectors. So now you have all of these people. And I mean, where are they going to go? They have to find their transferable skills and then switch into a new career. It's not like they can just go to a different NGO or something like that. Like they have to completely start all over again. And those people are going to go on unemployment. Those people are going to be on Medicaid. And so what do you do when then those systems are cut?
That's right.
Our economy can't withstand that. So
well, those people can't withstand that. And so because again, I had a consultation today with a woman who worked at the IRS. They just fired 6,000 IRS employees that are in the enforcement division last week. And so she's like, they just literally fired 6,000 people in the IRS. And she's like, and I may be, my job may be cut next week.
My refund is fucked.
Yeah. She said, oh, yeah, it's going to have an incredible impact on where things are at this point in time. So, again, look, it's I get it. You got to do this shit now because you can't drag it out and do it later. You gotta get it done now and see where the smoke clears.
Is Trump going to leave office?
Well, the issue with this Elon, again, I think it's been effective. His personal companies, the way he's been going about, mass layoff and then, shrinking it down to save costs and also be more efficient and get the result. I think he's been used to doing that, right? Forcing people to have this reality distortion field,
the government
get the max out of
company.
them, right? I'm going to get there. Get the max out of that. One second, that's the whole point I'm getting to, right? The idea like that may have been effective in the private sector, but you can't implement that in the government, right? 4 years coming in and doing that. There's multiple layers to the government that's been a structure for so long, right? That is like interdependent on each other. You can't just come in and implement that same strategy and think it's going to work. But on the bright side, sometimes it's like, what, this is an opportunity for the federal government to also, educate the masses on what it is that they really do. Because some people are listening to what's that lady that came on that was talking about how federal employees almost like kind of like dispensable, like they're not necessary. The people can, and we can fire them at will, right? They don't do anything for the people. They're not real jobs. Saying some outlandish, completely problematic, ridiculous statement, right? And so, now the federal employees are like, maybe we need to gather around and like educate the public on what the hell that we do. Without us, the Trump, the president can't really enforce. He can't really do anything because, they say what they need to do. They pass it down to the politicals. The political pass it down to the civil servants, and then they get the job done or hire contractors to do that. How can you say the federal employees are not nothing? But people don't know that. So with every sort of like disappointment, there's a blessing. With every sort of breakdown,
but you know what? If I eliminate the Department of Education,
right,
and I don't put any money into education, the public is never going to know it because I'm not going to tell them. I want to keep them stupid, ignorant, uninformed, and I want to control the propaganda machine. X, Fox, all that. Just listen to what we tell you.
Or the idea, that they're not even allowing, they're picking and choosing what types of press are going to be in the press room. I do find that to be problematic. It seems like it's, striking away at the foundation of what we have. It's one thing to have an administration come in and implement changes, but I think it's another way to just strip people of their constitutional rights in the name of
free speech ain't free.
Freedom.
It's crazy.
You got to pay for it.
It seems also counterintuitive and probably just like flat out odd that people hired by the federal government should then be telling higher up people in the federal government what they do they shouldn't be fired. Like the president is the one that speaks for the people and he should be in a position where he's able to help people in need. But I think the reality is like he's like creating mass poverty, and that's incredibly problematic for the country. We have to now gather around to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps because the person that has been elected to do that for us cannot.
He's breaking a lot of families.
And you know how I feel about that. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
I don't know. He ain't causing women to go out and have children out of wedlock. Now, Elon might be.
No.
But not the president.
It's just you that's supporting it. So.
Yeah, who know how many kids that dude has?
13.
On record is 13.
13.
On 13 is as we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 13.
Right. This guy who wants to single-handedly populate the planet,
But
that's okay. Still a family. Still a family.
Right?
It's not broken. Works.
Because I was curious too, like, what is the idea of, okay, so we're talking about a family or black family being broken, but we didn't really set the stage. What is the standoff for non-broken family?
Yeah.
Because for me, like, the way we did family in our society back home was different, right? The idea it took a village to raise a child. Like, you can go a mile as a kid away from home, and if you got in trouble along the way to getting home, you're getting beat by everybody else.
Damn right. They know you. Absolutely.
We refer to everybody, auntie or uncle, who are just, friends of the family. If you're 2-3 years older than us, we respect you. And so it took that structure before, like 18 people are living in one household, right? And when I came here, it's like, oh, you're 18 and older, you get out, go find a job and get a house of your own, start your own life. right? So like, and so as it relates to the white family and the black family, you know, what is considered like, is the society broken, or is it black family that's broken? Like, I was kind of wanting to know
that's a good question.
What is the foundation
is society
of that?
Broken,
right?
Yeah.
Relative to the family being broken?
Exactly.
I think that was really the point that I was trying to make. Like, so in general, we as Americans have a view of like what it is to be the quote unquote perfect family. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I will say that that is the standard, or at least it was. And it was like a husband and a wife, and then they have, 2.5 kids and a dog and a white picket fence. And then as society has progressed, we've changed that. You can have more children. You can, I don't know, do whatever. But that is actually also inclusive of the idea that it does take a village to raise a family. And sometimes the village is literally the people within your geographical region, or it's your family helping out. And I think that all of that is great. But again, my point is just that.
So Tom Brady and Gisele Bunsen have a broken family.
I don't know what their family looks like.
Well, they're divorced.
I don't follow. Okay, are they remarried?
Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's got a broken family.
I think in general, I would advocate for less divorces and for families to stay together, or at least at the very least, if they got divorced, then to remarry other people. I think it's helpful for children to have that stability, just like it's helpful to marry someone. Hold on.
So if mom and dad are at war, I mean, they can't stand each other. They're arguing every day, and the kids are having to deal with that. It's better for the kids to deal with that environment on a day-to-day basis than to remove one of the parents and then not have that friction and stress.
Yeah, of course I'm going to say no, but I think that's the same with every single answer that I've given. When I give an answer, you kind of just provide like the worst case scenario.
No,
if I'm like, it would be great to have a child. You would be like, well, is it okay if you have a child and they have one leg and they can't breathe and they only have one eyeball? Okay. Yeah. So, yes, I would probably say that wouldn't be great.
But when you say less
and
divorce,
I feel like that's like generally understood.
Hold on. When you say less divorce, right? People should be anti-divorce. But if you have, and many times, when two people are contemplating divorce, it's because they're not getting along.
It's because they've contemplated murder first.
Well, it's not healthy environment. And if you got kids, are you putting the kids through trauma by having them stay in a household where the parents are resisting divorce, or are you bringing them a better solution by letting the parents divorce and co-parent?
Yeah, so in general, I definitely think that families are better. I think they're better for society. I think they're helpful for children. In the event where you've created a family structure that's abusive or incredibly unsafe for you or your children, then obviously it would make sense, that you should leave. So again, it's that you kind of have this standard and this is what you want. It's like if you're in class, you want to study really hard and you want to get an A. Is a B okay? Sure. But what do you want? You want an A. If you end up with a B, all right, then you end up with a B, and then you try to see what you can do to get an A. But I think sometimes we're in a place in society where we're like, D's all right.
See, I like to. Here's what I add balance to this conversation. Please. Instead of being so like you would say, would offer more of extreme. I like to look at society from two lenses, right? I like to look at it from a linear lens and an exponential lens. I think life used to be boring before compared to what it is now. Less option before.
Yeah, it's exciting
compared to what it is now. It is exciting, like it or not, but it's a lot of shit happening every day. You could 1,000 shit would hit you before the day's over. Trust me, that's not boring. Back then, shit was boring, And so we had, and I think, Adrian I think she's arguing from a more traditional perspective, right? Where the foundation is based on marriage, and from that lens, obviously, if you're seeing the world right now, you're gonna look at it and go, shit is broken. It's not what it used to be. People are not marrying at the same rate anymore. People are not having kids together at the same rate anymore, right? In some cases, people don't want to have kids. Millennials, when we graduated, and in most cases have to go back to parents. Kids are growing up non-binary. So if you think it's broken, get ready for the future. My God is going to rock your boots because these things are shifting. right? Things are shifting. So it's not broken. It's just like, okay, what is going to be the next evolution of what we consider family, community, all those things? Yeah. And I think it's about time that we look at it from a different lens. And if we're kind of like looking at it from the way we grew up or the way we expect it to be, then it's going to seem broken. But I don't think that is.
Is non-binary broken?
I want to. I don't even understand that question, but
yeah,
so I'm not going to address it. But no, one thing that I really appreciate about America and American culture is that it's like literally looks like a rainbow, that you can create the family structure that you want. The point that I'm making.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That's what the hell I was saying at the beginning.
Right. And while you can create the family structure that you want, I don't know.
What are you promoting?
I don't know that all family structures are helpful, are helpful to the children, are helpful to society in general. So yes, while I agree with Lavala's point, which is that, you can do whatever you want, it's about whether it's successful. If you break it down like men and women, I'd say there's a lot of women that want to be married. But for black women, the reality is 1 in 4 black women will be married. So what do you do with all of these other women? And sometimes they go and they have children because they want them, but they have them out of wedlock. And then they try to settle down, and it's hard for them to settle down. Why? Because they're older and they have a child. And the reality is that older men don't want women their age. What do they want?
Wait a minute. How you talking about older men? You're not an older man.
Older men want younger women. And so when these women, and correct me if I'm wrong.
That is true.
Okay.
I agree.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So when these older women, let's say you're 40 and you have 1 child and you want to find another man that's 40.
A 60-year-old will go for a 40-year-old with a kid.
But maybe a 60-year-old will go for a 20-something.
Yeah, that too.
So what then do you do? Now you're going to have all of these women that want to settle down, that want to even create whatever structure, but a structure in marriage, they are not able to. It is difficult. I think sometimes we don't have as much of an eternal perspective as we should. We don't look as much into the future. We say, oh, I want to settle down, but I want to settle down eventually. And now you're 35 and you want to settle down, but the men that you want to date are not interested in you anymore. Or you're 50 and you want to settle down. It's going to be harder the older you get as a female. And sometimes I don't think we share that hard truth with women. Mm-hmm. Everyone at this date table, if they're single, they want to date a woman that's younger. You don't want to date a woman that's your age or a little older. So what are those women supposed to do if they can't even date men their own age? And then they try to date men older than them, but those men still even want women that are younger than them.
We can also say the same for women who choose the top percent, or like, the guy with the successful job, the guy that
like
looks
the high value man,
the high value guy, objectively attractive,
right?
High value, where a lot of men don't even get played. They don't. The average guy probably don't even like sleep with more than 4 women through their life. You know what I mean? There's something,
get the fuck out of here.
Some crazy number, right? I don't know the percentage, but
crazy number.
Check me on facts.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
The average DC? Guy don't get laid over like 4 times in their life.
But you could
maybe in Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas, yeah?
Yeah, maybe in Arkansas. Not in DC, bro.
That's why they call it Little Rock.
No bullshit.
But you were saying you can say the same thing for what?
I mean, like, men are choosing like women are choosing, right? This is this, push and pull thing. It's like, if you let a woman tell the story, they'll tell you a lot of things that they'll see from their perspective and their lens. And then you let a guy tell a story. And I think that's also the problem with society. It's like we don't come together. We don't really listen to each other out and come to a middle ground. It's always you versus me and what I think. And that's always been a problem, right? But look, that was an interesting take that you said. I don't have the perspective that other women share. Right, that's true, yeah.
Helping women, because if you think that you're going to be able to be a mother of 3 to 3 different men and then say, I want a high value man as a 35-year-old woman, you've lost all your marbles and some. Yeah. You need to deal with reality. The reality is that it's going to be harder for you. The reality is that you are a woman and you want a high value man, you have to have something that
what is a high value man
wants.
Yeah.
And it's not money. I think, so I'll address what a high value man is.
Yeah, it's not money. It's not degrees. It's not those things, right?
So you'll have so a high value man is someone like that first other men consider to be high value, but it's someone that, makes a lot of money. They're usually tall, well dressed. They exist in a particular circle. It's not like a rapper with $1 million.
Right.
It's like a doctor or a lawyer that has a good job and that does well for himself. And when he's ready to settle down, what type of woman is he going to choose? And
I'm high value.
Yeah.
And what do women think? A lot of women believe that the type of person that they need to be for these men is someone that is extremely well educated, which I think is part of it, being able to,
plays
have
part,
a discussion.
but it's not everything.
It's not everything, right? But and to have a good personality, not to be fit, not to be beautiful, not to be like submissive or like generally probably a little quieter, like strong, independent women. High value men don't pick these like strong, independent women that have 3 degrees and that want to tell you this and tell you that. And so at some point, just finishing up.
I want to piggyback on this real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think to just say all these women can do whatever they want and they'll be fine and like they'll be able to find someone, I think it's hurtful. That's
very true. What a woman look for versus what a guy look for is completely different. Like a guy can be high value and find a beautiful woman that works at 7-Eleven and pick her up and make her his wife. Right? As long as she respects and she's pretty. And so when they talk about high value man, what they're looking for in society is someone who is above average when it comes to physical, right? And so what does that mean? Like it's like what? So the average, what is the average height for a woman in society? It's like 5'4", right?
Yeah.
And what is the average weight compared to the height ratio? It's probably like 120, right?
Yeah.
Not like 135 ish in America.
Like
so
average,
5'4" average.
Yeah.
So if you're 5 or like
5'4", 135. Okay.
Well, because
Right.
you're trying to say like women in America are bigger.
Like if you're 5'2" and you're 135 or 136, you're considered like you're like 0.6% away from obesity.
You're low
That's
value.
just standing. You're you know what I mean. And then
it's just hard. It's going to be hard.
You're high volume, low value.
You're high volume.
You're high volume, low value.
High density.
That shit is funny.
Yes.
No, that's funny.
No, but that's what I was trying to say with keep going.
Yeah, and so but that's the idea, right? So that woman may think, well, having a degree, I went to Harvard, and I make enough. I'm well-to-do and established, so I should be able to go and find that high-value man. But that's not what they're looking for. They
don't want that. They don't want that. You. They don't want that.
What are they looking for?
Right.
No, when we're like this, we really are.
We get it. When we're on part, we're like, fuck that. But yeah,
tell them, because you're a man. Go ahead.
Tell them what they want.
I don't want to.
Tell them what they want.
I should just have a woman's face like this is what they were looking for.
What do they want?
But they want. I think it starts with the physical attraction.
Okay.
And then it starts with and second in line is obedience. A guy want a woman that can respect him and make him feel like just kind of cater to his ego, in a sense, right? They call it like kind of AK playing your role. And that guy's willing to do whatever for you, lift you out of poverty, pay for you, do all those things, make him feel like he's the man amongst his friends. Men are simple in that way, right? But I think women are more so thinking, oh, if I'm educated, I can stand on my own 2 feet. I should be able, and I'm below average, I should be able to go and find that high value man and they spend the rest of their lives looking for that guy instead of giving the rest of the percentage of the guy
the ones that are for
the guy
them.
who's making $40,000 a year consistently over the lifetime of his life.
Yes.
That's the guy that you're going to most likely end with if you're below average looking physically. Don't matter your degree.
Or even if you're average, like a lot of women, when they date, they say, okay, I'm an educated woman. This is how this is what my parents have told me that I should do. And so they go out to try to date with, their several degrees, et cetera, maybe even a child. And then they try to get a man. They want a man that matches them or is higher. So let's say you have a woman that's making $150,000 a year, but she has a child. She can take care of the child. Mm-hmm. She's making $150,000 a year. A man that's making $200,000 a year, typically is not going to pick this woman. Why? Because they can pick a woman that has no kids at all.
Right.
That's not his child. You're asking someone to
no kids, no job.
You're asking someone to come along and say, hey, I don't even know if you want children, and you might not because you already have one child, or maybe even, let's say, 2. I'm going to raise this child as if it's my own, even though it's not. Fund you and your lifestyle, and also you're ugly. Like,
no, you're not. You're ugly. Yeah. That's not happening.
The things that women value in men don't value in women. But because we're all kind of like, it feels like we're on an equal playing field. Yeah. We think that they do. Men don't value that because I think that they believe they don't have the same access to it. Like if I'm like, oh, I make $200,000 a year, my boyfriend isn't going to be like, oh, yes, I want to date you because you make $200,000 a year. You know what he said? He said, can you cook? Right. That's what he cares about. So it's different. And I do think like because men value different things, if you don't have what men value when they value it, it's going to be difficult for you.
Can I disagree?
In a minute.
Sure.
So to have people, around you saying, have that child. It's okay. You'll be okay. You can figure it out. It is hard enough if you're just a single woman. You still are competing with everyone else. And as a woman, you care about men who are providers. So most women want men that can provide. But if you are not what those men want, then you need to be with a man who maybe can't provide for you in the same way.
That shit is exhausting. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I don't have to fucking compete. Yeah. I mean, because
you can have whomever you want.
You're damn right I can.
Whatever age you want.
You're damn right I can.
I'm interested to hear what Sherman had. He was disagreeing. Give it to us, Sherman.
I think.
Woo. I feel bad for y'all.
First of all, First of all, I am of the opinion that it's always the lady's choice.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is.
Yeah,
we always say women gonna choose, right?
For dating and not marriage. Not marriage. We don't have that,
That's
fair.
You're sitting out here and you're dating somebody and that's your boyfriend. That's been your boyfriend for 10 years. That's been your boyfriend for 6 years. Why? Because women have the right to choose who they can date. And that's why it's important to take your time when you're dating. Because now you've got your feelings caught up. You're in a relationship. It's been 8 years and there is no ring in sight.
Can I finish my point?
Sure, yes, I'm sorry.
I mean, you can go
No,
ahead.
but that's a good point. I would like to hear that point.
I just want to break in whenever you take a breath.
No, I know, yes. That's my point.
So, I also think that high-value women, not saying a percentage of high-value women don't want a high-value man. They want a man they can control.
Which ones are those? Name one.
High-value women.
What does it mean to be high-value woman?
CEOs. Own their own company. Really? Right? They own their own company.
That's why.
Right? They got their own money.
Tell them.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Tell them.
They don't want a man that's going to give them pushback. They want a man that they can push around.
And what if I were to say to you that those aren't high-value women?
Those are successful women.
Those are successful,
but they're not high-value.
Wow, y'all on the same page.
They're not high-value. That's good because
that's my point.
Really?
My definition was wrong.
It was.
My definition was wrong.
A high-value woman is a woman with nice titties, with fat ass on Instagram that can make $1 million.
Wait. A high-value woman is what men think they are.
And what do most men?
Why? Because men.
A high-value woman is what men think they are. A high-value man is what women think they are.
Yes.
You agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
I do.
I would agree, and that's why. That's why, like, men are working the way that they work and they carry themselves the way that they do because they know that a particular woman would like it. And women who want that thing are going to carry themselves that way to have it. A man considers someone to be a high value woman not because they are a CEO of the company, but because they have the qualities that person likes.
That he values.
Yes, that he values. And most high value men don't dream of dating a woman that's a CEO.
There's a saying
They
that
dream
goes,
of
and I'm not
dating
going to,
someone that's
Most men,
beautiful,
I don't think
someone
they
that like.
dream
Listen.
about dating any damn body.
not to say that I subscribe to this. Not to say I subscribe to this, and not to say that this is still.
Oh gosh.
I mean, he don't. I'm just dating. I'm not dreaming. Oh, I hope I do that. I hope I can date such and such. That's that bullshit.
I hope I can take so and so out to a nice dinner.
So this is
No,
not
but
something
when you
that
think about
I
something you
abide by, but and I think it is transitioning now because things are changing. But it's a saying that men like women for who they are and women like men for what they can provide. That kind of structure is typically because of things that are like, I guess, problematic, toxic, and all of that. But that's typically how society has kind of been running. Like this guy go and work hard, knowing whether he's ugly or not. But once he gets his dollar,
All the women line
All
up.
the women.
And everybody
Yeah.
at this table agrees. There's nobody in here that doesn't want to date a woman that's younger than them. There's nobody in here that would be interested in dating a woman that's incredibly overweight as long as she had a good personality and brushed her hair in the morning.
Right.
If she was ugly, if
Hashtag
she was
facts.
overweight,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be interested.
Right,
And
correct.
so what is high value to a man is different.
Men are
Right.
physical.
So men are more physical. Just like a woman is not going to be like, oh, you don't have any money at all and you live in your mom's basement and play Monopoly all day. That's okay. Like, that's totally fine. No, you see all the time, like men that are short, men that are incredibly, I was going to say old, but, and
Don't cover the boomers.
Shame, funny.
no, not you guys. older than that. older
Shit ain't
than
funny.
that. Older than that. Who's that guy that it's in the NFL and he's like 80 or something? His girlfriend's 24.
Oh, you talking about the
Bill
coach, Bill
Belichick.
Belichick,
Bill
24-year-old,
Oh, do you see it
25.
happening
Yeah.
the other way around?
Bill
No,
Belichick.
you don't.
She's
Yeah.
24.
Right. And why is that okay? It's okay because he considers her a high
She
value
looks
woman.
40.
Because
She doesn't need to be
Because
the
her
CEO.
daddy said it's okay. That's why it's okay.
She doesn't need to be the CEO. of a
He's
company.
her daddy's having problems with his friends.
Oh, absolutely.
They're like
Probably.
Her, her daddy has a problem with Bill Belichick. Believe that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he ain't saying shit, he got a problem
No,
with
he
it.
doesn't.
But again, like
Yeah, he does.
that's
Depends
just
on how much
my
money
point.
he
has.
It's like, we're laughing and joking, and I do think we've reached a general consensus. But because we've reached a general consensus, to just argue that you can be whomever you want to be and like raise the family that you want to raise, however you want them to be raised, yes, that's fine. But
We're going back to
when
the family?
no, it's just when rubber hits the road, like it may be difficult. It's going to be difficult for single mothers to find husbands down the road.
Life
It's-
is fucking hard.
Right, but just that's all I'm saying. Like, just acknowledge that it's going to be harder for those people. We don't need to like promote that you can do it
I'm
because
not promoting.
nobody in here is
You
going to
can't
want to
do
date
it.
those people.
Don't have kids. You fucked up. Your kids is fucked up. Your life gonna be fucked up. It's gonna be hard. You can't make
focusing-
it even if you try.
You're focusing on after the fact, which is after they've already had those children. But I think that after
No,
you've
I
had,
said don't do it.
no, you shouldn't. You're right. You shouldn't.
You should.
And
I agree
don't
with that.
believe. Again, I think it's sort of hard to be like pro-black and like really love promoting black culture and then just be like, yes, everybody should be single moms and you should be non-present dads.
Oh, I said that. I said that. That's what I said.
That's what it feels like you're promoting.
Yes, everybody be single moms. That works.
I think it's really important to embrace the reality. And so if you are someone that is a single mom, it is going to be harder for you. I remember one time I met this woman and she was having a really hard time dating and she didn't understand why. And she was heavier set and she had a daughter. And she said, I don't understand why men don't want to be with me. I have a master's degree. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I
Right,
could have
that's
told,
my point.
I could have told her very
Exactly.
quickly. Get a gym
Right.
membership.
But that's my point. So when we sit here,
See,
and we're
that's
just like,
problematic
oh,
nowadays, right? You say that, and that's fat shaming, right? So we have a different.
That's
so,
woke
so
shit.
Things.
That's that woke
Well,
shit you talking
okay.
about.
So it's
So-
it's
so-
just
so look.
society. The point is,
Right,
yeah,
right. So
society's moving to a different direction.
if you, I guess my response should have been, do you want the truth? or do you want what's politically correct?
No, but then don't
Right.
be in these positions where you're able to speak to people who haven't made that choice yet and tell them it's going to be okay if they do. It's not going to be okay. Don't tell them that. It's hard. It sucks. You don't want that life.
How are you?
You could be miserable.
Yeah,
You
okay.
okay? You okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Personally?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be all right.
Huh? No, you don't.
It's gonna be all right.
Thank you,
You
for
can
that.
But
make
you're a
it.
high-value
you
woman.
can make it if
I
you
know that.
try.
Yeah, I know you're a high-value
The
woman.
situation
Well, my
that
boyfriend
you're
thinks
describing
that,
is the
but-
situation you grew up in. You gonna be all
But
right.
I'm gonna be okay because I saw it.
I
and
ain't saying
thought it was
everybody
horrible.
can, but those who have the determination, you can make it if
Oh,
you try.
if I try. Okay,
Is
you're gonna
that
give
is
me
that
money
across
then?
the board? This is no. Whoa, I
How'd
like
you
this.
make it?
Oh,
I
you're
like
gonna
this.
give
How'd
me
you
money?
make it?
I don't have
So-
children.
How'd you make it?
I don't have
No,
children.
how'd your mama make it?
I don't have children.
How'd your mama make it?
From her family.
Ah.
My mother
The
has.
family?
My mother
it's
is.
not broken. It
My
works.
mother is one of 5, and she grew up with both parents in her household. So I want you to explain to me, as someone who is a single child, I'm an only child with one parent that I don't talk to. So since I'm going to be all right, I want to know how much money you're going to give me for my children. Oh, okay. That's
None.
what I thought. Exactly.
But how
so
are
don't
you
say
doing?
That.
How are you doing?
Don't
How you
say
doing?
that. It's incredibly
How
hurtful.
you doing?
If I
You
were
all right.
there, it would be
You all right.
horrible.
I ain't saying it's gonna be easy, but I ain't saying
And that's what
give
I'm
the
talking.
hell
like
up.
These words of it's okay, like words of
No, I didn't say
affirmation,
it was
words of
okay.
encouragement, as if like everything is gonna
Don't
be
give
all right.
up. You can make it if you try.
Okay, I'm gonna try and use that when I need to pay my rent. Thanks.
Is your rent being paid?
Right
Who's
now,
paying it?
Right now,
Who's paying it?
my rent?
You are.
Right now,
You are.
I'm paying my rent.
What an example you might be.
Right, and if I had
But
a
I ain't
child,
encouraging people to go
and
that
if
way.
I had a child, it would be incredibly hard for
Your
me
mama
to pay my
did
rent.
it. She made it.
I already told you why she did it. She did it because she had both parents.
Damn.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I just don't get it. Right?
No, you get it. You just don't want to say it. And this is my problem with some people in the black community. Just say it. Say it. It's not
Say
hard.
what?
You can do it.
Yo,
You can say it.
yo.
It's
If
okay.
you have
My
a
language.
kid, you fucked up. Your kid ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make
And
it.
that's
You
what
fucked
you
up.
resort to, which, I mean,
what
come
should
on.
I say? What should I say other than, you know what, you messed up, but you can make it if you try? What message would you have me deliver?
I will say the same thing that I've said the whole podcast. I feel like at this point I'm beating a dead horse, which is at first I do think that we're promoting it by just
Not
being
promoting.
like, it's okay. You're going to be fine if it happens to you. I think you need to say that like there are
I don't think
resources
that's
for
promotion.
you, but it's going to be really, really, really difficult. It's going to be really hard. And just like I gave you the scenario of it happening to me, the only thing you could provide for me were words of encouragement. That is not what the electric
So-
company is going to take.
So look,
that's not
look,
what my
when I was in high school,
sure.
when I was in high school,
But you know that words of encouragement
Yeah, look.
are not enough. They're
Hold
not
on,
going to be enough.
but I
in this
think it's
situation.
better than words of discouragement.
yeah, hold on,
I'm
hold on. a
not
second.
arguing
No,
for
no,
that.
no, wait. You've had the kid. I ain't saying go out and have it, but once you've had it, I'm
Right.
trying to say you can do this. You would have me say, you fucked up. You're going to be fucked up. Your kid's going to be fucked up. You shouldn't have done it. You're
No,
done.
I would have you say this.
You're
this
done.
is where we are. It's
Look,
all right.
look,
you can
look,
figure
look,
out. It's
look,
going to
look.
be hard.
But
You're
isn't
not
that
going to get a high value
encouraging?
man.
Hold on. When I was in,
I'm not.
When
You
I was in
are.
college, a lot of people that said when I said I wanted to go to law school, a lot of people said, "Oh, you ain't gonna be able to go to law school. How you gonna go to law school? You ain't gonna be able to go to law school. Look, law school's hard. It's difficult. I had a lot of naysayers said I couldn't be able to do it. Right? I didn't listen to them.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I want to go to law school. I'm going to law school. Give a fuck what you think. You know what I mean? Like,
How is
again.
This is usually what happens when we're talking about black issues in America. My stance is usually start where you are, use what you have, do what you can.
There you go.
This
Here's
is
to
a
you.
place. This is a place where there's abundance amount of opportunity, despite the color of your skin and all of that. And what I usually get is, you don't know that. if you got stopped by the police, who's to say that they won't look at you because you're black and not shoot you just like the next man? And I go, well, you can only control the controllable. This language that you guys are speaking of in a whole different context is what I preach. Is that, yes, all these things are happening. Not everybody's going to be dealt a fair hand, but in life, everybody start from different places, right? Got different head starts in life. And if you use what you have and do what you can, especially in the U.S., you can do something about that. And that's what I always try to preach. And what I realized that this separates me from the black community is when I try to preach that, the trauma aspect of, well, you don't know, this white man is putting his foot on my neck. That's what usually comes out as a voice. And that becomes the guy who was like bad. Like, oh my God. So hearing you guys say this from a different perspective is very refreshing because that's the same mentality I always try to preach to the black community. And I get targeted for it. As if I'm not black. As if I don't know what the fuck is happening. As if I'm white. You know what I mean? And that's interesting, but I just want to kind of put a perspective to that because I really think this is fascinating.
I agree. I think oftentimes you sit on the other side of the table with your arguments. I think in general, it can be difficult for black people to self-reflect. I believe this is one of those moments. And I think it is also present when Lavala says things that sometimes you guys disagree with. Like, he can't just disagree. It's that, he's
no, say we. Don't say we. Jump in there. Don't say you guys.
If we didn't disagree,
all three of y'all.
Don't
separate yourself.
If we didn't disagree, this would be so uninteresting.
No, there are many times where I agree with you.
Very often, I don't say you guys shouldn't disagree. I just usually ask that as you speak. That's all. That's really all I ask for. We can disagree all the time. I think we'll get to a common ground. That's all.
He plays devil's advocate all the time. And because he's not born here, it adds kind of credibility to his different view on the topics that we're talking about. That's what makes the podcast beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's why I'm cutting the first 30 minutes out. I'm glad we went to 135. That's great. Good on us.
All right. Well, look. It's been good, y'all. Thanks for the conversation. I appreciate it. I feel a little bit more enlightened than I did when we started.
I'm glad. Me too.
Make it if you try.
And I will say, you are a high value woman.
Look, I just think we shouldn't wish upon the black community which we wouldn't wish upon ourselves. Thank you very much.
Nice. Till next time, everybody.
Peace, y'all.
Bye.
Peace.
Spicy.
Oh my God.